I didn't meet this client until she was already in labor. And the first thing her OB said to me wasn't hello. It wasn't how can we work together? It was how much do you charge? What happened in that room over the next few hours, it showed me exactly why I tell every single parent, your provider can make or break your birth, even if you do everything right. Hi, I'm Susie, a registered nurse, doula, and owner of a doula collective here in Houston. And I have seen a lot of births. But this one stayed with me. Not because of what went wrong, but because of what it revealed. If you care about protecting your space, your peace in the delivery room, about informed consent, about what really happens when providers feel threatened, stay with me. And if you're new here, subscribe, because I tell the stories most people won't. So this client, we've never met in person. We had one virtual call, that's it. We went through her birth preferences, her fears, what she wanted to be different this time around for her second delivery. Her first birth was an induction with Pitocin. She ended up getting an epidural. What happened was that her water broke and she didn't have enough contractions happening. So she went to the hospital, but they didn't give her body time to catch up. They just moved things along, and this time she wanted to feel it. She wanted unmedicated. She wanted her body to do what bodies know how to do. No rushing, no Pitocin, just space. So we prepared. I gave her a plan, exercises, stretches, positioning work. We texted, we talked after her OB appointments so that we could stay connected. But here's the thing that stood out to me. She didn't want to write a birth plan, but because her provider had already been pushy about Pitocin, and she was scared it wouldn't make a difference or it would be pointless. That alone told me everything. So when her water broke, we made the choice to stay home and labor as long as possible until those contractions were strong before heading to the hospital. Once she got to the hospital, I met her there. From the second her provider walked into the room, the energy, it just fell off. My client, she was calm, focused, breathing through her contractions beautifully. But the OB, she was watching me. Not my client, me. And then she starts asking questions, personal questions. How much do you charge? What kind of doula are you? Do you have a card? At first I thought maybe she wanted to refer me. She saw the work that I was doing and was impressed. So I gave her a card. I even offered her more cards for her office. But then I realized she wasn't asking to support me. She was asking to check me. So I asked her back for my cards. She said, why? And I told her the truth. Because your energy is off and the way you're going about this doesn't feel right. She did not like that. She went on to tell me that I am supposed to be supportive. I'm supposed to be this positive person, that I should have good energy. And I want to be very clear about something. My energy is for my client. I don't owe emotional labor to a provider who's being disrespectful. Then she started making up all sorts of reasons for wanting my business card. She wanted my card to put me in the system. And she doesn't know that I'm a nurse, so I know how this works. It doesn't work like that. The nurse is the one who's charting, and the nurse is the one who charts every person who's in the room with the patient. So this wasn't about paperwork. This was about control. And as labor progressed, my client stayed calm, composed, and in her zone. She was doing exactly what her body needed to do. But the OB couldn't handle this. She kept encouraging my client to scream, to curse, to let it out. Like that's what unmedicated birth is supposed to look like. She kept saying she couldn't believe how quiet she was, how well behaved. Then she said something that made everything click. She looked at my client and said, "Your mother must have raised you so well. You're not aggressive, you're not cursing, you're not loud." And that's when I realized what was happening. There was an expectation in that room about Black women, about pain, about what strength is supposed to look like. The provider expected chaos. She expected my client to perform a certain type of labor, and she didn't. When she stayed grounded and quiet and powerful in her own way, it unsettled her. Because quiet strength doesn't fit the narrative. Controlled doesn't fit the expectation. And a Black woman laboring without screaming, that confused her. So instead of respecting what she was seeing, she tried to reshape it. That's what bias looks like. Not always loud, not always obvious. Sometimes it's just this. When it came time to push, the OB had one position in mind: flat on her back, legs in stirrups. Remember, my client is unmedicated. So my client asked to try something else, a different position. The OB said no. She just kept justifying why that position was best. But let's be clear, it wasn't best for my client, it was best for the provider. And then there was the moment that the family wanted to take pictures, they wanted to record the moment and their birth. And the OB, she didn't say anything. She just used her body to block the camera. Blue drapes everywhere. Draped my client completely. No conversation, no consent, just passive aggressive control. This was their birth, their moment, and she made it about her comfort. This birth reinforced something I tell parents all the time. You can prepare, you can educate yourself, you can hire support, and you can still walk into a room where your provider does not believe in you or your body or physiological birth. Your provider matters just as much as your birth plan, maybe more. I tell people now, start thinking about your provider before your first appointment. That first visit is not just medical, it's an interview. Ask the hard questions early. How do they feel about induction timelines? How do they support unmedicated birth? What's their C-section rate? Do they encourage movement during labor and pushing? Pay attention to how they answer. Not just what they say, but how they say it. Do they listen? Do they respect your questions? Or do they dismiss you? Because alignment isn't a nice to have, it's everything. This client had a powerful birth, not because it was loud, not because it was dramatic, but because even when the system pushed back, she stayed in her body. She trusted herself, and she had support that centered her. If you're pregnant or planning to be, or supporting someone who is, I want you to hear these stories because this is what advocacy looks like in real time. Subscribe if you want more honest conversations about birth, power, and what really happens in that room. And if this resonated, share it. Someone in your life needs to hear it. I'll see you in the next one.